Welcome to the True Detectives podcast. Are you ready for another crazy story?
I know I am.
Well, get ready because we're diving into a weird investigation today. One filled with the unexpected. We're trying to, as always, separate fact from mystery.
Absolutely.
And today we're plunging into a dystopian future.
Ooh, dystopian future, I like.
Yeah, a city where mutants are marginalized and live in fear.
Sounds a little too familiar sometimes.
Well, let's hope not. But the texts we have paint such a stark picture of this world through the eyes of Detective Elias, a mutant himself, gifted or maybe burdened with the ability to read minds.
Always two sides of the coin, right?
Right. So your mission, if you choose to accept it, is to join us. As we try to understand this dangerous case Elias finds himself in, embroiled in. The victims are his own kind, and as we'll see, the truth is way more unsettling than he at first imagines. So we're going to unpack the key events and really get to grips with what it means to be hunted just for who you are.
Absolutely.
Right. Let's get into it.
Let's do it.
Okay.
Our investigation begins in the shadows.
Ooh, I like that.
In a grim alleyway. A deceased mutant is found, and this is what kickstarts the investigation. But what's truly disturbing, I think, is the state of the victim's mind.
Okay.
It's described as a smoking ruin. I mean, what image does that conjure up for you?
I mean, it's not good.
No. It suggests such a level of psychic violence that it's way beyond mere physical harm.
It does. It immediately tells you this wasn't just a random, act of violence.
Exactly.
And this is where Elias's unique ability comes in. He can sense the, those lingering psychic echoes, like the residue of what happened.
Like a ghost almost.
Exactly. He detects a powerful psychic attack and, something that the human police with their conventional methods,
traditional ways of
they
investigating.
completely dismiss it. They assume it was just another overdose.
Oh, just another freak OD, they would say.
Yeah, exactly.
Which immediately, I think, throws Elias's position into sharp relief.
Yes.
Doesn't it? I mean, he's a mutant navigating a society that's riddled with prejudice against his kind.
Absolutely.
The human authorities just casually dismissing this death as a freak OD, that speaks volumes about the systemic bias that Elias is up against, even as he's trying to uphold the law.
Yeah.
What does that tell you about the value placed on mutant life in a society like that?
Yeah. It tells you it's pretty low.
Yeah.
Okay, let's delve a bit into Elias's world.
I'd love to.
So his office is described as this grimy basement. And the detail that really jumped out at me was the Faraday shielding. Now, for anyone who's not familiar with Faraday shielding, it blocks electromagnetic fields.
Yeah, in our world, it's used in a lot of tech.
Right. So its presence here suggests that Elias is trying to block something similar. Right. But in his case, it's a constant barrage of other people's thoughts.
Oh, wow.
So what does that tell us about the reality he's living in?
It paints such a vivid picture of constant sensory overload, like a relentless mental cacophony. I don't think most of us can fathom that.
I can't even imagine.
The shielding isn't some luxury for Elias. It's a fundamental need, like a way to find some mental quiet in a world that's constantly broadcasting thoughts.
Yeah.
I mean, it just makes you consider how profoundly different his perception of reality must be from our own.
Exactly, yeah. Despite the, indifference of the human police, Elias trusts his own senses, right?
Yeah.
His telepathic insights.
Makes sense.
And a crucial clue emerges. A name whispered in the victim's last moments. Simon Price.
Simon Price.
Okay, so we learned that Price is another telepath. Someone who has retreated deep into the mutant ghetto, basically, known as the Zone.
The Zone.
Yeah. So this sets Elias on this journey into a part of the city that's clearly marginalized and we can assume potentially dangerous.
For sure.
So what kind of atmosphere do you imagine in a place like the Zone?
The text portrays it as a place steeped in despair, which is a natural consequence, I think, of systemic oppression and fear. But there's this fascinating undercurrent of defiance as well, like a resilience amongst its inhabitants.
I like that.
We get glimpses of other mutants, one with chameleon skin, a child with telekinetic abilities.
Wow.
And these examples, they really highlight the sheer diversity of mutant powers.
Yeah.
And how individuals are adapting using their unique traits to survive in a hostile environment.
Yeah.
It's not just a place of victims, it's a place of adaptation.
Yeah. It paints a really vivid picture of a community finding ways to exist on the fringes of society.
On the edges.
Right.
Right.
So then Elias finally tracks down Simon Price.
Tracks him down.
The description of Price is he's reclusive, feared, and he's got a scarred face. So that immediately suggests a life marked by hardship, someone who's seen the darker side of this society.
Absolutely.
What kind of interactions do you anticipate between Elias and, someone like Price?
Oh, I mean, given Price's circumstances and Elias's position as a mutant working, however tenuously, with human authorities,
Right.
his initial distrust is completely predictable.
Yeah.
And his question, why should we help you, lapdog? I mean, that just cuts right to the heart of the complex relationship
Yes.
between the marginalized mutant community and those who they might perceive as collaborators.
Yeah.
It really reveals these deep fissures and suspicions within the mutant community itself,
Absolutely.
likely exacerbated, by their oppression.
Of course. Of course. But Elias manages to bridge that gap.
Yeah, he does.
And the way he does it is so telling, I think. He doesn't just, present the cold, hard facts of the murders.
Right.
He taps into something deeper. He shows Price these flickers of hope he saw, these defiant dreams he gleaned from the minds of the murdered mutants.
The victims.
Yeah, so it's this appeal to their shared identity, their collective, aspirations.
Hope for the future.
A desire to protect something precious in their community.
Yeah.
What does it tell us about the most effective ways to build trust across these divides?
Well, it definitely underscores the power of empathy and shared values. Elias understands that appealing to their common humanity, their shared experience of being marginalized, it's far more effective than just presenting evidence.
Right.
It highlights these deep and often unspoken bonds that exist in a community that's facing external threats and also internal divisions.
Oh, that's fascinating, isn't it?
It is.
So it works. Price, surprisingly, doesn't offer direct assistance in the way, Elias might have expected.
Right.
Instead, he provides this grimy key card to his archive.
To his archive.
Yeah. And what Elias uncovers there isn't your typical, crime scene data. It's suppressed government research.
Ooh.
Yeah. And the crucial revelation is the existence of experiments focused on a psychic dampener.
What?
Yeah. This technology designed to essentially nullify mutant telepathic abilities, to make them mind-blind.
Mind-blind.
Yeah. How does that discovery change the entire landscape of the investigation?
Oh, it fundamentally shifts the focus. I mean, it goes from a series of isolated murders to something far more systemic and sinister.
Right.
This psychic dampener, I mean, it suggests a coordinated effort to neutralize mutant ability, on a grand scale, to strip them of a core aspect of who they are.
Wow.
It hints at this much larger conspiracy orchestrated by the very authorities that Elias is, ostensibly working for,
Yeah.
raising the stakes exponentially. What are the implications for something like that, when you think about individual autonomy and government control?
Yeah. That's a chilling prospect, really. And that realization hits Elias hard. His own employers are the enemy.
Wow.
The narrative takes this dark turn with an ambush in his apartment.
Oh, no.
The agents are described as having shielded minds,
The shielded minds.
rendering Elias's telepathic abilities completely useless. So, for someone who relies so heavily on his mental senses, this must be terrifyingly vulnerable.
I can't even imagine.
Yeah. What does it mean for him to be suddenly, stripped of his primary way of interacting with the world?
It's a brutal inversion of power, Elias, who could previously delve into the thoughts of others, he's now completely blind to their intentions.
Right.
And the fight becomes just visceral, just physical, a desperate struggle for survival.
Yeah.
And the fact that he's fighting against the evidence of his employer's murderous intent, I mean, that underscores the profound moral and personal crisis he's facing.
Yes.
He's not just fighting for his life, he's fighting against the implications of what he's uncovered.
Huge.
Huge.
And just when things seem hopeless, there's this unexpected intervention, the sudden appearance of a young mutant girl.
A young girl.
Yeah. And her power is fear projection.
Fear projection.
Yeah. And the description of how her raw ability disrupts the shielded agents is fascinating. It suggests that maybe not all mutant powers are so easily countered by technology.
Yeah.
What might explain her ability to bypass their defenses?
Her power seems to tap into something primal, something so emotional. Right.
That their technological shields might not be designed to address that.
Right.
It highlights a different spectrum of mutant abilities,
Yeah.
perhaps more instinctual, less reliant on the kind of directed mental energy that telepathy uses.
Yeah.
That moment of connection that Elias experiences,
Yes.
that thread of gratitude and defiance blooming into fragile trust.
So beautiful.
I know. It speaks volumes about the burgeoning solidarity within this persecuted community.
Right.
A bond forged in shared vulnerability and resistance.
Yeah. Even though Elias is ultimately subdued and imprisoned,
Oh, no.
the emergence of this young girl and her power has this, significant ripple effect.
Yeah.
So in the isolation of his bare cell, cut off from the mental world that he usually inhabits, a crucial turning point happens.
Okay.
A psychic image breaks through his isolation, the zone ablaze, Price's fighters rising up.
Wow.
What does that vision signify for the broader narrative? This image is like a powerful symbol of hope and resistance. The girl's raw power that projected fear, it acted as a catalyst, like a spark that ignited a wider rebellion within the zone.
Yeah.
It suggests that even in the face of oppression, the collective spirit of the marginalized can find ways to manifest,
Yeah.
to push back against their oppressors. I mean, they weren't broken. They were simply waiting for a sign.
Right. And Elias, in a way, has become that sign, albeit unintentionally.
Unintentionally.
Yeah. He realizes he's no longer just an investigator trying to, solve these murders.
Yeah.
He's become a key figure.
A symbol.
Yeah. A catalyst in this much larger uprising. His personal investigation has ignited a potential revolution. How do you think his understanding of his role shifts in this moment?
I think his focus probably expands beyond his own predicament to encompass the fate of his entire community. His imprisonment was intended to break him, to turn him into a tool for his captors.
Right.
But it's ironically solidified his connection to his own kind and fueled their resistance.
It's amazing how that happens sometimes.
I know. It's so powerful.
And that final scene with the interrogation room door opening and the image of the burning zone blazing in his mind,
This is so vivid.
it sets the stage for a dramatic shift in those power dynamics.
For sure.
His internal resolve, his performance, it's about to begin. It suggests he plans to use his captivity as an opportunity to further the mutant rebellion from within.
So interesting.
It's going to be amazing to see where this goes.
I can't wait to read the next part.
As we piece together this investigation, what are the key questions that linger with you?
Mm-hmm.
What broader themes about society and power does this story illuminate?
I think for me, it brings up fundamental questions about the vulnerability of minority groups, the ethical implications of suppressing inherent differences, and the enduring power of resistance when people are pushed to their breaking point. Detective Elias's journey is particularly compelling to me. He started by looking into individual crimes, but he unearthed this systemic injustice. How did the limitations of his own abilities, in the face of technological countermeasures, force him to connect with and rely on others? And what does the emergence of this young girl symbolize for the future of this community?
Such a good question. This glimpse into the world of Mindblind really makes you think about the nature of identity, the pervasive power of fear, and the ongoing struggle for equality in so many contexts. What aspects of Elias's investigation resonated the most with you?
Oh, there are so many.
And what if a technology like a psychic dampener existed in our world?
Oh, wow.
Even beyond this specific context of mutants, what societal implications might that have?
Oh, that's a huge question.
Yeah.
This investigation, as detailed as it is, feels like just the tip of the iceberg. There's a whole world of conflict, resilience, and untold stories hinted at within this narrative. It leaves you pondering the deep roots of prejudice and the often unexpected sparks that can ignite a fight for liberation.
Absolutely. It's a story that stays with you. Join us next time on the True Detectives podcast as we delve into another fascinating and unexpected story. Always trying to separate fact from the mystery.
Until next time.
See you then.